The following is an excerpt from my first Q&A video. The topic of building speed, I feel, is important enough to need its own standalone video. Before we begin, we've got to challenge the age-old specious axiom that you get thrown around all the time, and that is, if you want to play fast, you've got to play slow. And this is the damaging kind of advice that beginner guitarists have been getting served for decades now. Excuse me. And it's damaging because while it is partially true, you'll never be able to play fast if you don't put in your practice time with slow stuff. It isn't true, really. Slow practice has a function, yes, and fast practice has a function. Slow practice is what you do when you want to build up the very core fundamentals, when you're building your muscle memory. You know, you're trying to synchronize your hands, that kind of thing. Once you can do things at a slow speed, there's no need to do it anymore. If your wish is to get faster, you need to start playing faster. Because if you only play slowly all the time, your hands, they think they're doing a good job. Because as far as they're concerned, you're telling them to play slowly all the time. So that's what they do. There's no incentive for them to get faster. Do you know what I mean? Let's say that you went to the gym, I don't know, 5 days a week, and you just did bicep curls all the time. And that's ridiculous, you'd never do that, right? You'd mix it up. But let's just say, for the sake of this simile, you go to the gym 5 days a week, you do bicep curls every day. And you just use little weights, the same little weights, every time you go. Now, what incentive is there for you to get stronger, for your muscles to get bigger? There is none. So don't go thinking that one day, after lifting the same little weights every day, one day you're going to be able to go in and pick up the big weights and start like throwing those around. That's never going to happen. You've got to bridge the gaps. You've got to hit all the increments in between slow and fast. You've got to pick up a slightly heavier weight, and then like a slightly heavier weight again over time, over years, until eventually you hit those big weights. And you think, wow, what a journey. And so this is exactly the same with guitar practice. If you want to get fast, you've got to keep pushing yourself to get faster. That's the only way to do it. You've got to place your brain and your hands under immense stress. So I think we should perhaps cover an example, just so you know exactly what I'm getting at here. Very few people seem to know how to use a metronome properly. So I'm going to tell you how to use a metronome properly, and I'll give you an example. So let's say there's a student wanted to build up their downward pick slanting, alternate picking. They wanted to get fast at doing like bursts, just to develop a good, clean, accurate, fast technique. So let's say that they were going to pick one note, because you know I love boring, plain exercises, right? They're going to play one note and just pick it 9 times. So 16th note, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That'll be the exercise, just one note. They need to start at 60 beats per minute, really slow, and just try and get out one perfect rep. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And the moment they do one perfect rep, they need to bump up the metronome by 2 beats per minute. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Did they do it perfectly? Yes, they did. Bump it up another 2. So now they're at 64 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, they did a perfect rep, so bump it up to 66. And the idea is that they'd keep doing this over like a 45-minute to an hour long practice session until they reach their upper limit. So let's say, hypothetically, that this student's upper limit is 160. They can do this at 160, but for some reason when they go to 162, they can't do it anymore. What does this mean? It means they've reached their upper limit of 160, not 162, 160. So, practice diary. They write down for that day, upper limit 160. And now this is where the weight training simile comes back into play again. For the final 10 minutes of their practice session, they stay at 160 and they just bust out reps, just exhausting their hands, really letting them know, I expect more of you. I expect you to get faster, and so help me God if you don't. So that's what's happening. And then once they're done with that 10 minutes of just really giving it their all at their upper limit, that's it, they're done. But it's not over yet, because day 2, they're going to do it all over again, starting right back from a crawl at 60, and over like 45 minutes or an hour, they're going to bring it back up to their upper limit, which they'll reach, of course, because they're capable. They'll reach 160, and you know what? They might even get to 162 and get a perfect rep. So what does that mean? Put it up to 164. And you know what? They might even be able to get a perfect rep at 164 as well. At which point you take it up. They take it up again to 166. Let's see. Right, but at 166 they can't do it. At the moment it's just too fast for them. But look what they've done. In one day they've come up 4 beats per minute in speed. So they write it down. 164 is the new upper limit. 166, just out of reach for now, but who knows, they might get it on day 3. These results will start to drop off as you get faster and faster. It really is a case of diminishing returns. You need to put in more and more effort to get less and less speed increase. But I mean, that's just, that's an asymptote, isn't it? They're everywhere in nature. So there you are. One more thing I will say about this is you will reach a point where you feel you've prematurely plateaued. It just doesn't seem right that you should not be getting any faster. You've been following this procedure. You deserve to get faster. Okay, well, you've hit a plateau. That's fine. It's totally normal. Here are 2 techniques that I would give you to bust through a plateau and to continue building speed. Okay, the first is the pullback double up, which is where you would drop 10 beats per minute lower than your upper limit. So let's say the hypothetical student, got to 170 and they couldn't get past it. Okay, they drop back down to 160. But instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, they double it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So now they've doubled the length of the exercise, and they drop down the speed a little bit. That's one little technique that you can use. Now the second is a slightly more popular and slightly more famous. It's, I don't know, I'll call it overshooting, shall we call it that? And what you do is you set your metronome maybe 10 or even 20 beats per minute faster than your upper limit. And I mean, it's crazy. If you can't play beyond your upper limit, you're not really going to expect to play 10 or 20 beats per minute faster than your upper limit, right? But that's not the point. The point is to show these stubborn hands that there are speeds above your current upper limit. There is more out there. That's what you're trying to show them. And so you shock them back into life by trying to play way above your max upper limit. And of course it would be a disaster because it's too fast. But something magical will happen when you drop the speed back down to your upper limit and then bump it up by 2. So you're just 2 above where your maximum limit was before. And now because you were playing so fast before, 2 above your maximum limit is actually slower by comparison to the crazy stuff you were doing before. So that's a good way to build speed from the other side by shocking yourself with speed and then bringing it down again. It's almost as if your hands are saying, okay, no more of that high speed stuff. I give in, I'll give you a bit more speed above your max. It really is a battle with the hands, building up speed, but here are some techniques that you can use and should be using, and correct metronome practice as well.